What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Kaspa today. KAS, KAS USD. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it, okay? I was looking at this on the monthly chart because KAS, first and foremost, has such a short history of existence. It's incredible. What an incredible run this was. We see these kind of charts in crypto all the time where they pump and they dump, but the percentages are always different. This is truly spectacular. I mean, from a low point to a high point, you saw a 1,136x. Yeah, and that low is not even the lowest price that you could have bought Kaspa, right? This doesn't have to the technical all-time history, but just incredible growth that you saw. So of course you're going to see with incredible growth comes incredible downside, right? We dropped 82% overall on October 10th. You dropped a total of 95%. I wouldn't have assumed that the low would come in this way. I thought that it would have been slower, and I did assume that we would go down this low. I just didn't think that it would come in like this. At this point in time, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I'm not assuming anymore that we are going down to this area, at least at this point in time. At this point in time, I'm looking higher. And the reason why is I was looking at this monthly time frame again, and I'm just looking here. We've got an A, B, C correction going on, and it really looks perfect. You draw up the schematic here. It says A, B, C right there. You see it? It should be an ABC should be like this. A, B, C. It's like a Harry Potter. So it's a lightning symbol, right? Symmetrical. The A leg and the C leg are symmetrical, and that's exactly what we see here. I feel like it's easier to see on the weekly time frame. Now it depends on how you do this analysis, because if you're looking at this from the scope of this low being real, then it doesn't make sense, which I don't think this low is real. Yes, it really happened. Yes, exchanges crashed, but as soon as the exchanges crashed, we dropped down here. As soon as they opened back up, we were all the way up here. Nobody actually bought down here unless they had buy orders set up. You know what I mean? Like there was no, it wasn't real price action. So I don't count that. I count this as the low right here. Sorry, I was trying to draw a line. I count this as the trend, not this. Does that make sense? Anyways, looking at this here on the weekly time frame, you can see from a high to your low. Maybe this would be a better point at which we actually started to move down, was here, high to low, and then you take this high to this low here. They're basically the same size, right? If I took it to the all-time high, they're basically the same size, regardless of how it is. It's an ABC correction, and the fact that the C leg, this leg here is a little bit bigger than the A leg, that's actually pretty normal too, but they're basically the same size. And the fact that I thoroughly do believe that we have an ABC correction here tells me that we are in the midst of a trend, a very bullish trend, right? You moved up, here's your correction, A, B, C, and now you're ready to move up more, okay? For a long time, I doubted that Kaspa would continue to grow, and the premise that I had for that was from a low to a high, you moved up 1,130x in the course of like 2 years, not even. It was crazy, 2 years, literally 2 years. It's crazy. Bitcoin never saw that. No crypto sees that, at least on a sustainable path. That's crazy. And then you had a bunch of people at the top who were saying we're going to go to $50. We already had a one. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. The whole crypto market had a bear market during this time, and you were bullish, right? The bull market didn't start for the average crypto until here. You were already bullish. You already had insane gains by that time, right? You were topped off. BlackRock announced that they've been mining Kaspa, right? Stuff like that. Like all these, there's a bunch of bullish things, quote unquote, that happened up here. You had a bunch of exchanges list you that were bigger, right? Binance, Perps, whatever, all that stuff. Just, it was very obvious topping signal here, okay? Fast forward, since August of 2024 to now January of 2026, about a year and a half later, we've been moving down. We've had an ABC correction. You've had a bear market. I mean, this effectively is a bear market. If it's not a bear market, I don't want to see what's coming next, because this is already a year and a half long. That's pretty damn long for crypto. Most cryptos don't see a bear market that lasts that long, right? That doesn't mean that it's 1 year down and then you just move up immediately. But the fact that you consistently move down for about a year and a half, that in itself, I think, constitutes as a bear market. Kaspa started its bull market without the rest of crypto. It started its bear market without the rest of crypto. It can start another bull market on its own. It's kind of interesting how it moves, how it really does move independently of crypto. Now, I say that, of course, there are some similarities and some symmetry there. You're up 18% this month. I think the average altcoin's up about the same amount, you know. But the point remains, I'm just saying here, where before I couldn't see you growing because I thought you were at the end of your run, Now you're at the end of your run, but to the downside. This is basically the end of your bear market, I would think. And I would say that you were in a bear market, yeah. On your MACD, you have bullish divergence. On the monthly time frame, you have bullish divergence, which is incredible, by the way. That's a feat. That is an accomplishment right there. Monthly bullish divergence is insane. Bullish divergence on the monthly stochastics as well. No bullish divergence on the RSI, but you're bouncing off the 40. That's a good look in itself. We look at the weekly time frame on the MACD. Bullish divergence here as well. You are definitely building. I mean, look at the decay in the momentum that you've seen since October of 2024. The decay of this bearish momentum slowly but surely diverging throughout your whole bear market here. Stochastics are pointed up, looking good here. RSI has been in a downtrend, and this was also a reason that we became bearish. You know, back in August, October, whatever. Is that we had this massive lower high, lower low kind of trend, right? You've been lower high, lower low for a long time now. The moment that this breaks, that tells us that the trend has broke. If the trend is broke, we're not in a bear market anymore. You're probably starting a new trend. Exciting things are coming, right? You haven't been overbought in a very long time. And I would assume here, getting oversold, these downtrends typically don't end until you get the oversold zone. It is possible that you could come down. It is possible that I could be wrong, that this is not the low and that we go lower. I just don't see it happening. I think that we will move up from here. From a low to a high, you bounce right off the 786. You're having a proper reaction right now. To validate this low, as far as I'm concerned, what we need to see are prices that are above about 5.6, let's say 5.55 cents. Let's just say 5.6 cents. You close the day above 5.6 cents, and you validate this as a low, effectively. You're at 5 cents now, so it's not that far. A 12% move will do it. Let me just make sure. Let's raise the bar. Let's raise the bar a little bit, because by the way of the fibs, that's fine, 5.6 cents, but let's raise the bar here. Let's say 5.8 cents. You're getting above this daily high close, and this daily low close here. So get above 5.8 cents. That'll be more validating, I think. And you're really not that far away from it. Looking at the weekly time frame, the stochastics are bullish. The RSI is bearish overall, but you've got some bullish prospects, hopefully. You've got some bullish prospects here in your MACD as well. You just crossed green on the MACD. The last time that you had a green cross after being red for so long, I mean, you continue to grow over the weeks to come. If we continue to grow even at this pace, we will get above the area that validates this as a low. We look at this on the daily time frame. Stochastics are bullish. The RSI at the moment looks like it's rejecting the overbought zone, and that's fine. Stochastics, the MACD is right at the zero, perfect area to reject as well. They're all kind of at points to reject, so it makes sense that you might find some turbulence here in the immediate sense. Low to high, 786.5 golden ratio support back up here. Yeah, if you were to come down, I think you're showing constructiveness. Instead of finding a low with the golden ratio like you did before, or at the 786, right? 786 to the golden ratio. Now what's the next step? The 0.5, right? Go to the 0.5. So from here, we might move down to about 4.76 cents, going in the opposite direction for a little bit, but then we should be moving up after that, I would assume. Back testing a fib right here, the 0.5 that you found resistance at before, and find support at it, just like you did back here and here, right? That's the expectation. I want to look at the 1 hour time frame and just see if we can validate that real quick. Hold on. 1 hour, yeah, rejecting the overbought zone. You look pretty bearish here. The 4 hour time frame, you also look bearish. You're just flipping this red now. You had some bearish divergence as well, bearish divergence on your RSI. So yeah, I think we're spot on with that. 4.6, 4.7 cents, maybe 4.5 cents, somewhere around there. And then we should move up from there. The expectation overall, and I alluded to it in the beginning, but I kind of got distracted with the short-term stuff, is that we are expecting Kaspa here to break out to the upside. That's the expectation. I do expect that this will be accompanied with new all-time highs. I don't know when this will happen. You're certainly at the forefronts of this next move happening. You absolutely are. Will you be up here by the end of March? Will it be by the end of June? Could you be up here at some point in February and you're moving up higher? You know, that's the real question that I'm asking myself here, because at this price before, 1 month later, you were all the way up at 12.5 cents. Wouldn't that be nice? 4 months later, you were up at a price of 17 cents, right? You've moved up pretty fast from this area before. You can do it again, right? You've even over here from a low to a high, you moved up. You basically did that same move, right? But you have more tokens unlocked, so there's a higher market cap at this price than there was back here, right? Higher market cap now than there was back here because there's more tokens unlocked. It won't be as easy to move the price up, but you also have less euphoria here, more fear here than you did back there. I think we're at a low point. I think we bottomed out, and I think that we will move up again. The question that I'm just asking myself, and I'm really just trying to figure out how to get a timeline on this, and I don't know how I would be when do we get up here? I believe that we will see new all-time highs, but when? It could be by the end of Q1. Maybe it's sometime in Q2. I don't think that it'll be later than that. And then the question after that is, where do we go from there? My assumption is that Kaspa, we did a 1000x last cycle, and that was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. But I don't think that you're going to get a 1000x this cycle. You probably don't even get half that, or forgive me for saying even a quarter of that, a 250x. You're at $1.3 billion in market cap valuation. Being that I'm theoretically supposing you could be going through your second bull market. You went through a bull market, bear market. This could be your second bull market. I do accept that Kaspa could see a $100 billion market cap, even a $200 billion market cap, maybe even upwards towards $300 billion, but not past that. I don't think it's pretty fast for any altcoin to see a multi-$100 billion market cap in its second bull cycle. Right? From here, a 100x gives you a $130 billion market cap. So 100x would put you over $100 billion. There's nothing wrong with stopping there. There's nothing wrong with that. You could stop at less than 100x. Maybe you don't even get to $100 billion, but 100x from here would basically put you at about a $5.65 to $8.40 price. What I'm doing right now, guys, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, is we're making sense of the limits. This is not a prediction. This is making sense of the limits. I'm not saying, I bet this is where we're going to go. I'm saying, I bet we don't go above this level. Because if we do, the only next level is the 3618, and that would give us a 400x. I don't see that happening. I don't see Kaspa in its second cycle getting a like near $500 billion market cap. I don't see it happening. Maybe in time, but not in its second market cap. Not in its second cycle. So the limitations would be in what I like to call the money zone, the 2886 to the 3113. You see these levels hit an exceptionally powerful move. So if you get an exceptionally powerful move, which you're pretty prone to, 565 to 841, a 100 and almost 10x to a 163x, 64x is possible. It is possible, but that's the limits of your possibilities. That is the upper end of this possibility sandwich we're working out. Now let's get into the meat of it. Statistically speaking, because this is the limitations, it's less likely to happen. The most likely outcome might be where the meat is, which the 2272 to the 2618 stands out, in my opinion, right? Typically, a little fun fact for you guys, in my experience with cryptos, the predominant, the popular cryptos like Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin, from cycle to cycle, you take a high to a low. It's not uncommon at all for them to stop at their 2272 levels. And typically with the 2272, you do wick just above there. But the 2618 could be considered here as well. That's $1.93 to $3.53, right? Understand why I was bearish back here. People were saying we were going to $50. The biggest Kaspa accounts were talking about $50. They were talking about $5 and $50, right? That was what was accepted as normal in the Kaspa community. I was trying to be like, hey guys, hold up now. Like, this is crazy, guys. Nothing's ever done this before, right? That's because nothing's ever been like this before. Yeah, now you sound like every other person investing in crypto. Every person investing in a crypto project thinks their project is groundbreaking and doing things nothing's ever been done before. That's not the truth. They promise to. But if they truly do something that's never been done before, you get great results. But even that has its limitations. I'm getting distracted. Here I am at the base of this, and I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around 565 to 841, let alone anything past that, but it's certainly a possibility. People were talking about $5 being the minimum at these highs here, right? Just understand, let's kind of ground ourselves. Understand the market cap valuation and understand what that means and how difficult it is, in fact. I know we throw around $100 billion like it's just nothing in this space, but it's a lot of freaking money, man. That requires institutional grade investments to get to that level. That's not retail that gets you to $100 billion, man. It's BlackRock. It's all different types of institutions. I'm drawing a blank. JP Morgan, whatever. There's a bunch of institutions. I'm not trying to focus on that right now. 1.3. This isn't a pop quiz where we test how many institutions C-Zar can name off. Pantera Capital, Deutsche Bank, J.C. Penney. I don't know. No, J.P. Morgan is what I was thinking. Chase Bank. Whatever. I can name off a bunch of banks, but I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing right now. All I'm trying to say is that to me, statistically speaking, from here at 5 cents, the most probable outcome for this next bull cycle is that Kaspa will only achieve I know it's so sad, a 38x, which is nice, 38x to a 69x, maybe a 70x. To me, that is the most probable outcome, is that a 38 to a 70x is probably the most probable outcome for Kaspa in the coming cycle. The coming alt rally that we're expecting for altcoins across the board are expected to do a 30x or less on average. So you're going to outperform the average altcoin still. People hear me talk about Kaspa and they hear me say anything besides a 1000x and they think I hate it. But understand what I just said is Kaspa is probably going to outperform the average altcoin. Probably. It's probably going to be one of the top performers of the coming alt run. It probably will be, okay? But that doesn't mean that you have to see a 1000x or a multi-100x to get there, right? And then the least likely possibility, hold on guys, hold on real quick. Okay, sorry, there's just some noise. The least likely probability, in my opinion, would be that Kaspa only stops at 61 cents to $1.98, the 1618 to the 200 level. I don't see this happening, but it is a possibility. If Kaspa's a dud, if there is institutional offloading that's happening here, you know, this is just a giant distributive phase, maybe we stop even lower. Maybe we get like a slightly higher high, double top kind of, maybe not a double top, but a slightly higher high that gives us monthly bearish divergence. And then that sends Kaspa to the depths forever, maybe. But I don't see that happening. I think this project's here to stay. In this realm of possibilities, we've got our little sandwich here, right? We've got the buns, which are the least likely outcomes, and then the meat, which is the most likely outcome. I would say, with all the analysis we've done, my expectation undoubtedly is that Kaspa will see something between about $2 and $3.50. If I had to guess as far as when it will achieve that price, I would think by the end of 2026, maybe sometime early 2027, but probably by the end of 2026. And we should be kicking this move off, more or less, next month, if not by the end of this month. I got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button. Thank you all. Subscribe. Short-term stuff looks a little bit volatile to the downside, but over the weeks and months to come, we should see some growth. And hopefully, for anybody who bought Kaspa here because you heard a bunch of people telling you, who, by the way, they didn't know what they were talking about, and I said this here. I said it here. I'm going to say it again. Shame on all the people here who were saying that you were going to go to $50, who were saying that you were going to go to $5. These were people who created brand new YouTube accounts. I followed all of them. I checked them out. They created brand new YouTube accounts. They had just gotten into crypto. They had no idea what they were doing, and yet they created a following, a massive following of thousands of followers that they convinced it was a smart idea to buy here, okay? Shame on all those people. I hope that they've learned, right? It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong, right? I hope that they've learned, and maybe next time they will have a better understanding of what reality is, right? And that's what I'm trying to do here, is that if you're watching any of these guys, these same guys over here who are brand new to crypto, and I've been in this since 2015, and I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong plenty of times. I'll be wrong plenty of times in the future. But I'm just saying, when you're new, your expectations are completely irrelevant, right? The expectations we have lined out now, hopefully any of you watching these videos, if you hear anybody telling you, oh, Kaspa's going to go to $10 or $20 or $50 this next cycle, look at what it did last cycle, it's going to do this time. Hopefully you have some kind of grounded base in reality now based off of this video that will tell you, you know, probably not, man. I want to believe you that it's going to go to $50. I want to believe you, but most likely what's going to happen is we go to about $1.90 to $3.50. Most likely, at best, at absolute best, $5.60 to $8.40 at the best. But we're not going to break above $9 this cycle. I highly doubt we even break above $5, but it's possible, right? This way, you're grounded. This way, you're not buying the top. This way, you're not holding the top. This way, you have some type of target area to assume where it's a good time to take profits if you're in this for the long term. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.